Hi, I'm Patricia Kelly, and I'm here in Ogunquit, Maine at the Ogunquit Playhouse for my one-woman show, Gene Kelly, The Legacy, that'll be here on June 25th at 7:30 p.m. I always say it's kind of like you get in a little boat with me. It's like a Disneyland ride, and you don't really know where you're going to go. People come in and they're not sure what this is going to be. And I take you through his life, and by the end of it, you really have begun to understand him. You understand his creative process. You understand his heart. And it goes into the end of his life and the aftermath of that. And it begins to explore things like grief and loss and things that I think, again, are very important for us, especially today. I don't sing and dance. I leave all of that to Gene, and he's there up on a big screen, and they're beautiful clips. Some of the clips will be very familiar, some you've probably never seen, and my hope is that you will see them in a different way, and you'll begin to understand the mind behind the clips, the mind behind the work. Then you have this tremendous breadth of choreography and dance styles, and really the fact that he created a new style, the American style of dance, and he choreographed the camera. So you have the first time you're beginning to see dance on film in this particular way. You hear a lot about his toughness, about his perfectionism, the word that he hated, because he was a true professional, a tough professional, and required that of himself and of everyone. But there was this immense tenderness. And then also, I think what's really particularly relevant today is decency and integrity, a man who fought for the underdog and stood up for what was right. And I think people always, they want to hope that they would like him if they met him, and that they would. And in fact, after they begin to hear the stories, they always say, you know, gee, I feel like we could just sit and have a beer with him or something. And one of the things that I include in the show are the Valentines that he used to sprinkle around the house for me. He was like a kid on my birthday and on Valentine's Day. He couldn't wait. So the minute the clock turned midnight, I would begin to find these Valentines all around and different little notes for my birthday. And they were funny. They were funny. He had a sense of humor that wasn't like a comedian, like a stand-up comic. It was just this natural comedy that usually I was just, half the time I was on the floor laughing, and he'd do little funny drawings of monkeys and put them on the refrigerator for me to find in the morning. And I do run the clips because I'm always looking for things, and I always see something different, and it's amazing. As many times as I've seen Sing in the Rain, every single time I notice some little detail that I didn't notice before. Gene didn't really have a favorite movie. In fact, it was very difficult to get him to watch his movies because he would inevitably see things he could have done differently. And I include some of those in the show, and people always laugh because they never noticed what he saw. I think what he liked were different clips, and that's kind of the way I would answer the question as well, because there's so many standout numbers, like the newspaper dance, the dancing on roller skates, the dancing I Got Rhythm with kids in American in Paris. So that's what I did, is I brought all of these favorites together. Well, the nice thing about the show is it's extemporaneous, so there is no script. Clips appear in a certain sequence, and then I have these very rare recordings of him. He used to sing to me at night, and so you'll be able to hear that, and those are very, very powerful. Those are hard for me to hear, but it does change, and that's what's wonderful about it, because I can listen. It's a live show, it's a live performance, so I listen to the audience, and if you laugh at a certain point, I can go this direction, or if there are tears at this point, I can turn and go this way. And it has changed. It's funny, I've added things in the show because of things people have said after. And so it's really fun. It's alive. It's not static, and I can change it based on where I am. So if there's a particular main story, then I can incorporate that, or main relationship. And in this case, there is, and you just have to show up in order to hear that one.
I will be there, Patricia, so I'll definitely see.
People ask me after, they say, how can you possibly do this show? Because to them is very intense emotionally, that they can't understand how, because it is about my husband. And my comment is that it allowed me to begin to deal with the immensity of the grief, that I needed that reciprocal relationship with an audience, with people, to be able to share him, to talk about him, because otherwise you can't just kind of stick him away, pack him away and put him in a box. To keep him alive in a sense and introduce young people and new audiences, and I think also for people to see him in a different light. He was very specific with me about how he wished to be remembered. He said, I want to be remembered for being behind the camera and for changing the look of dance on film. And he said, if anybody's going to do that, it will be you. So he basically just sits right here all the time, and he's like, and I could do this every night. I love it so much. I wish I could do it every night. There's such a reciprocal relationship with the audience, and I never say, people think, well, is it a lecture? No, it's not, because it goes this way, it goes both ways. And I get as much from the audience as I hope I'm giving to them. I think it has to go, and I think particularly in our post-COVID days, where we're kind of yearning for some kind of engagement, this is sort of the epitome of engagement. It's a way to connect with people, and not only with me, with the audience, but with the person next to you and the people behind you. And there might be a 3-year-old next to you who has memorized all of Jean's works. I mean, there are many who come to my shows, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds. There's no demographic. I always say it's 2 to 102. And it's half men, it's half women, it's every economic strata. So the audience is as broad as you can get, and very contemporary. I mean, he's hot, he's cool. I hope all of you will come out to see this show. Even if you don't know what to expect, I assure you that you will come away from it with a sense of joy and a sense of really understanding one of these magnificent figures of the 20th century. Just go to ogunquitplayhouse.org and pick your tickets. You can pick a seat. And I greet people as you come in, and I stay after each show to shake hands.